I always thought graduation day would feel like a win. Not for the diploma, not for the pictures, not even for the applause. Just the feeling that maybe, finally, I'd made my parents proud. My name is Danielle. I'm a twin, my brother James, and I were born 2 minutes apart, raised in the same house, attended the same schools, shared birthday cakes for 22 years. And somehow, we might as well have lived in 2 different families. James was the golden child, the football captain. The one everyone called charming. He had the laugh, the crowd, the spotlight. I had responsibility. I was the one who helped Mom when her back gave out, the one who figured out our taxes when Dad forgot, the one who freelanced through high school, saved every penny, and fixed my own cracked phone screen with YouTube tutorials. An $8 glue. I didn't resent James. Not really. But I always knew who the favorite was. Graduation came. We both walked across the same stage. Him in his shiny blue sash for student government, me in my plain gown with 3 part-time jobs behind it. Afterward, our parents threw a backyard dinner. Nothing extravagant, just close family, some neighbors, a cake with our names on it and slanted frosting. And then, the surprise. James, Dad said, holding out a set of keys. "We're so proud of you, son." James blinked. "What?" "Go look in the driveway," Mom beamed. And there it was. A brand new jet black BMW. Clean, sleek, still wearing the dealer's ribbon across the hood. James screamed like a kid on Christmas morning. He hugged them both, tackled them to the ground like they'd gifted him the world. He deserved to be happy, but for a moment, I just stood there, wondering. Was there something for me, too? I didn't expect a car. I didn't even want one. Maybe a letter, a pair of earrings, a notebook with a scribbled, "We're proud of you too, Danielle." Then my dad turned to me and handed me an envelope. It was plain. No ribbon, no card. Smiled, pretending I didn't already feel the difference. "Thanks," I said, trying not to seem eager as I opened it. And that's when everything tilted. It wasn't a letter. It wasn't a gift card. It was a bill, itemized, neatly formatted, rent, utilities, a portion of James's school fees, old grocery balances, a dentist appointment from last year. Final total, over $6,200. I stared at it for a second, blinking, trying to process. What is this? My mom smiled like she'd just handed me something thoughtful. "It's only fair, sweetheart. You've saved so much working online these past few years. You're responsible. It's time you help the family a little." Dad nodded. "James doesn't have any savings yet. You're in a better position. It's not a punishment and it's a contribution." I felt something cold settle in my stomach. They weren't giving me anything. They were asking me to clean up their mess, to pay for their poor choices, while James drove off in a luxury car. I turned to him, looking for something. A flicker of guilt. A shrug. A maybe this is wrong. But all he did was grin and say, "Come on. You always say you don't care about money." That was the moment I stopped being their daughter, at least in the way they saw me. I took a breath, folded the paper neatly, and slid it back into the envelope. "Thanks," I said quietly, my voice steady. "This is a real eye-opener," my mom beamed. "I knew you'd understand." I smiled back. But I wasn't understanding. I was done. That night, I packed a small suitcase, took my laptop, my saved-up cash, and I left. No fight, no yelling, no dramatic door slam, just a quiet exit. They didn't even try to stop me, and I don't think they realized what I was doing. But they would. Soon. The first night away felt strange. I didn't cry. I didn't pace the floors or double-check my decision. I just sat in my tiny Airbnb, a single room with creaky floors and mismatched curtains. And for the first time in years, the silence felt like mine. Not heavy, not guilt-laced, just mine. I didn't tell anyone where I was, didn't post, didn't send a goodbye message. I just vanished. I used the savings I had built over 5 years of freelancing, money that was never meant to patch my parents' broken finances, but to build something better for myself. I didn't know what the next step was, but I knew what it wasn't. It wasn't going back. The calls started the next day. I didn't answer. Voicemails began piling up. My mom's voice, cheerful at first. "Hey, sweetie, just checking in. Call us when you get a chance, okay?" Then my dad. "Danielle, give us a ring. We want to talk through some things. No pressure." Then James. "Hey, can you just text Mom back or something? She's acting like you died." I let the phone ring. Every time, I wasn't ignoring them, out of spite. I was ignoring them because for the first time in my life, I wanted them to sit in the quiet they had handed me my whole life. By the end of the week, the tone shifted. The voicemails stopped sounding casual. "Danielle, why are you not answering? We didn't mean to upset you. Honey, please, this isn't like you. Just call us back. Are you seriously ghosting your family over a misunderstanding?" Misunderstanding. They still didn't get it. They thought this was about one moment, one bill, one day. They didn't realize it was about every day that came before it. I spent my days walking around a nearby park, sipping cheap coffee, updating client work from my laptop. My nights were quiet, peaceful, no emotional whiplash, no forced family dinners where James dominated the conversation while I was told to be more easygoing. No being asked to clean up what others left behind. Just me. By the start of the second week, the panic kicked in. My brother called again. This time, his tone had changed. "Okay, this is getting ridiculous. You're being dramatic. Just come home already." I blocked him. A few hours later, a new number popped up. My mom. "Danielle, we're struggling. We didn't mean to hurt you. You know we've always supported you." I laughed out loud at that. One. Supported me? This was the same woman who handed me a debt slip with a smile and said, "It's only fair." I sat at the edge of my bed, staring at my phone, scrolling through voicemails like they were songs on a sad playlist. The deeper I went, the more their tone cracked. The pride faded. The confidence wavered. The guilt bled through. One night, while I was reviewing a contract for a new client, an email popped up. Subject, "Please read." This from Dad. My thumb hovered over the notification for a long time. I didn't want to read it, but something in me, curiosity, maybe, clicked it open. "Danielle, we're in trouble. We took out some loans we can't pay back. We thought we could handle it, but things are getting worse. Jason doesn't have the means to help us. We thought you wouldn't mind. You've always been responsible, independent. We misjudged the situation. For that, I'm sorry. Please, at least call us back." I read the message twice. It was the first time they came close to admitting they were wrong. But even still, it wasn't an apology. They weren't sorry for how they'd treated me. They were sorry I wasn't there to fix it. They were sorry the golden child wasn't enough. For years, they had put James on a pedestal. They gave him everything: praise, attention, even a brand new car. And when he failed to clean up their mess, they turned to me, the responsible one, the stable one, the one who always understood. I closed the email without replying. They thought this silence was about revenge. It wasn't. It was about refusal. I refused to play the part anymore. I wasn't going to be the family's fallback plan, the one they never thanked, never celebrated, but always depended on when things fell apart. And the longer they waited in that silence, the more they'd hear what they had spent years ignoring. It was a Wednesday morning when my phone rang again. Unknown number. I was about to let it go to voicemail like all the others, but something in my gut told me to pick up. I slid my thumb across the screen and brought it to my ear. Danielle? It was Aunt Karen. Her voice was soft, cautious, like she wasn't sure I'd stay on the line. Can we talk? Just for a minute? I stayed quiet. It's about your parents. They're worried about you. I let out a quiet sigh. Yeah, I said flatly. I think they're a little more worried about themselves right now. There was a pause on the other end. Then she said, Please don't be like this. They made a mistake. They thought you'd understand. They didn't mean for things to go this way. That word again. Understand. They always expected me to understand, to be mature, to let things slide, even when it cost me everything. I took a deep breath and leaned back in my chair. Let me ask you something, Aunt Karen. Why did they buy James a car if they were in debt? If things were so tight, how could they justify that? There was a long silence. Then her voice came back, shaky this time. I don't know, sweetheart. They always wanted to give James the best. They figured it would be a nice way to celebrate. They didn't think you'd leave over it. I stared at the ceiling. That's the problem, I said, voice even. They never thought about how I'd feel. Not once. It wasn't just the car, Karen. It was years of being overlooked. Years of being told to wait my turn, to sacrifice, to understand, while James got handed everything with a bow on it. My chest tightened, but I didn't let the emotion crack through. I was tired of cracking. I was done breaking just so they could stay whole. They didn't give me a car, I said. They didn't give me an opportunity or even a thank you. They gave me a bill, a literal breakdown of their debt, and smiled while they handed it to me like it was a blessing. And now they want me to fix it. Karen was quiet for a long time. Then her voice dropped to a near whisper. They didn't know how to show you they were proud of you, Danielle. They thought you were strong enough to handle it. But they were wrong. And I think they finally know that now. I looked out the window. The city outside was noisy. Cars, dogs, people living their lives. But inside, it was still. And I realized that stillness was something I'd fought for. It's not even about the money, I said. It's about respect. It's about how they've treated me my whole life. How they gave James the freedom to fall and gave me the responsibility to catch everything. I spent years trying to make them proud. But apparently, being the one who never needed help just meant they stopped offering it. My voice was calm. Too calm. Because everything I said had been building for years, and now I finally had the chance to say it. They didn't think twice about what it would do to me, because they assumed I'd be fine. Another long pause. Then Aunt Karen said, Danielle, I think they're finally realizing they messed up. They just don't know how to fix it. I let the silence hang for a few seconds. Then I said, Maybe they can't. Her voice softened. Come home. Let them apologize. Let them show you they're serious. I closed my eyes. I didn't know if I was ready for that. The emotional weight of walking through that front door again felt too heavy to carry, but something inside me softened. Just a little. Maybe. If they want to fix it, I said carefully, they'll have to prove it. Words aren't enough. This time. Karen let out a breath of relief. Thank you, she whispered. I know this isn't easy. I didn't respond. Then, just as I was about to hang up, she added, There's something you should know. I blinked. What? James. He called me too. He's been asking if you'll come back. My stomach tensed. Really? Yes. He's starting to see the bigger picture. He's realizing how much you've done. And how much he's taken for granted. I didn't know what to say to that. James, the golden boy, finally seeing the truth? It sounded too good to be true. But maybe, just maybe, the silence was doing its job. Maybe they were finally starting to listen. Still didn't know if I'd ever go back. But I knew one thing. This story wasn't over yet, and for the first time in my life, I wasn't the one waiting for someone else to decide how it would end. It was a Thursday evening when my phone lit up again. Unknown number. I was in the middle of scheduling a client call when it rang. My thumb hovered over the decline button. But something stopped me. I let it ring, paused, then answered. Danielle? I froze. James. His voice was unsteady, quieter than I'd ever heard it. Yeah, I replied flatly. There was a pause, a long one, like he didn't know how to start. I'm sorry, he said. But things got worse. I didn't say anything. Mom and Dad, they didn't. Listen, I tried talking to them, but you know how they are. They kept saying they'd figure it out. Another pause. His voice cracked slightly. They had to sell the car. I blinked. What? The BMW, he said. It's gone. They sold it last week. A strange silence settled over me. Not shock, not sadness, just a slow, steady feeling of something clicking into place. They sold the car, I repeated, my voice colder than I meant. Yeah, James mumbled. They had no choice. The bills piled up and we couldn't keep up with the payments anymore. So it's gone, just like that. I leaned back in my chair, staring out the window at nothing. A quiet satisfaction rolled through me, not because they were suffering, but because they were finally feeling the consequences of their choices. I don't know what to say, James said quietly. I mean, I never wanted it to go this far. You didn't? I asked, keeping my tone cool. Because it felt like you were just fine when I walked out. You watched them hand me a bill and didn't say a word. He hesitated. I didn't think it would blow up like this. I thought you'd get over it. Right, I said. Because that's what I always do. I get over it. I pay the price so no one else has to feel uncomfortable. The silence on the other end was thick. For once, James didn't have a comeback. You didn't have to lose the car, I said, my voice sharp now. But you should have known this would happen. That Mom and Dad couldn't afford that kind of gift. That they would eventually turn to me to clean up their mess. But this time, I continued, I wasn't there. I know, James said, his voice breaking. And I get it. I do. We were wrong. They were wrong. I don't know how to fix it. I didn't respond right away. I let him sit in it, in the discomfort, in the silence I had carried for years. Then I said, you can't fix it, because this isn't about a car, or a bill, or a graduation gift. This is about a family that spent 2 decades telling me to wait my turn while handing you everything first. James was quiet again. I could hear him breathing, uneven, shallow. Please, Danielle, he said. Finally, just come home. They miss you. I miss you. And for a second, a small, fragile second, I almost felt bad for him. But then I remembered my mother's face when she handed me that envelope, that smile, that "it's only fair" line. The way James shrugged it off like I should be honored to pay off their mess, and the guilt vanished. You know what, James? I said calmly. Maybe this is the lesson they needed. Maybe losing the thing they thought made them special is the only way they'll realize what actually matters. They made their choice. They celebrated you. They erased me. Now, they're just living with the consequences. James's voice cracked. Danielle, please, I didn't ask for any of this. No, I said. But you accepted it. And that makes you just as responsible. He didn't argue, didn't defend himself, didn't even try to shift the blame. He just cried. And I listened. Not because I felt sorry for him, but because I needed to hear it. I needed to hear what it sounded like when the golden child finally realized his pedestal had a cost. His sobs echoed through the phone, real, raw. But I didn't offer comfort, didn't soften my tone, because for once, this wasn't about him. I warned them, James, I said quietly. I told them that one day they'd lose me if they kept treating me like I didn't matter. And now? Now, they finally have. I ended the call without another word. No goodbye, no closure, no relief, just a clean break. I set my phone down on the desk and stared at the screen as it dimmed. I expected to feel something. Guilt, sadness, anger. But instead, I felt clarity, like I had been holding my breath for years and finally let it go. They had made their choices, and now they were paying for them, not with cash, but with silence. And for once, I was the one who walked away. 3 days passed after James called. I didn't hear from him again. No texts, no calls. And honestly, I preferred it that way. The silence had become something sacred to me. It wasn't lonely. It was earned. Sunday. Afternoon, my phone rang. Unknown number. I knew. Before I answered, I knew. I picked up. Danielle. It was my mother. Her voice was shaky, fragile, a little too soft, like she was choosing every word as if it might break me. Can you just hear us out? I didn't respond right away. I leaned back in my chair, stared at the ceiling. It had taken them this long to come to me, to say my name like it meant something again. And now they were finally on the other end of the phone. Danielle, she continued, her voice breaking. We know we messed up. We never should have put that pressure on you. We should have been better parents. We're sorry, she whispered. Please come back. We'll fix everything. Just come home. I let the silence stretch, because it wasn't the apology I needed. It was too late. You're sorry, I said slowly, my voice calm. You're sorry for what, exactly? For buying James a car while handing me a debt letter? Or for watching me walk out and not caring until the bills showed up? The line went quiet. I could almost hear her blinking, her mind scrambling for the right answer. Danielle, we didn't mean for things to get this bad. We thought we could handle it. That you'd understand. You always do. There, it was again. That word, understand. I closed my eyes, inhaled slowly. You're right, Mom, I said. I always do understand. That's the problem. I understood when James got praised for C's and I got silence for A's. I understood when you asked me to help clean up while he went out. I understood when every sacrifice I made was expected and every small effort he made was celebrated. But here's what you didn't understand. You raised a daughter who stopped needing your approval, and now you've lost her. She didn't respond. Then I heard a rustle, and my father's voice came on the line. Danielle? It was the first time I'd heard him speak in weeks. He sounded older, defeated, tired. Please, we were wrong. We see that now. We never meant to push you away. I let out a low laugh. Not cruel, just hollow. You didn't push me away, I said coldly. You kicked me to the curb. You made your favorite clear and expected me to be grateful for leftovers. And when I finally stood up for myself, then I became a problem. Then it was time for regrets. I let my voice drop. Steady, sharp. You made your choices, And now you're living with them." The line went quiet again. Then my mom came back on. "We'll do anything, Danielle. We love you. Just tell us how to fix this." I rolled my eyes. Love? Now they wanted to call it love. "Love," I repeated, "is not handing your daughter a bill and calling it a gift. Love is not silence when she walks out the door. Love is not begging her to come home only when the money runs dry." They were quiet again, but I wasn't done. "I'm not coming back," I said firmly. "You want forgiveness? You want redemption? You should have started with respect. I'm not your backup plan anymore. I'm not your emotional punching bag, and I'm not the safety net you always assumed would be there." The silence that followed wasn't surprised. It was sinking in. They finally heard it, and for once, they couldn't spin it, redirect it, or silence it. "You raised me to be responsible," I added, "and now I'm taking responsibility for myself." By walking away, there was a long pause. Then my dad spoke one last time. "We just wanted James to feel special. We didn't think we'd lose you over it. It wasn't worth it," he said quietly. "None of it was." I almost said, "You're right," but I didn't. Instead, I let them sit in that silence, the one I had lived in for so many years. "You lost me," I said quietly. "And you're not getting me back just because you finally noticed." I ended the call. No goodbye, no final speech. Just click, done. I stared at my phone for a long time, not because I was emotional, not because I was unsure, because it was the first time I had drawn the line and kept it, and it felt good. No, it felt better than good. It felt free. They had taken me for granted. They had chosen James. They had chosen convenience. And now? They'd have to live with their own silence, because this time, I wasn't coming back. Weeks passed after the call. There were no more voicemails, no more blocked numbers, no more emotional pleading from voices I had grown up chasing. Just quiet. And I loved it. I worked. I walked. I breathed without needing permission. For the first time in my life, I felt like I belonged completely to myself. Then, one afternoon, a package arrived. No return address. Just my name, written in neat handwriting I hadn't seen in years. Mom's. I held it in my hands for a while. Part of me didn't want to open it. Another part needed to. Curiosity won. Inside, there was a letter. Folded so many times it had softened at the creases. Handwritten. In blue ink. "Danielle, we don't expect you to forgive us. We know we hurt you. We realized too late that we lost something far more valuable than any car, any celebration, any illusion of fairness. We lost you, and that's something we can't buy back, no matter how hard we try. We just want you to know. We're sorry, and we'll always love you. Even if you never come home again, please don't forget that." I read the letter twice, then a third time. I waited to feel something. Guilt, sadness, longing. But all I felt was peace. Because it wasn't enough. Not even close. And I wasn't angry anymore. I was just done. I folded the letter slowly, dropped it into the trash, and walked away, without looking back. James texted me a few more times after that. Little things. "Sorry you had to be caught in all this. I get it now. You were always the strong one." I didn't reply. He had chosen his place in the story, and I had finally chosen mine. Life went on. My business grew. My peace deepened. And I stopped waking up wondering who I needed to please. This wasn't a revenge story. This was a freedom story, and I earned every second of it. Because sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is walk away from the people who never once stopped to ask how far they pushed you. Outro, spoken in reflective tone. If this story meant something to you, if you've ever been the responsible one, the invisible one, the used one, just know this: you don't owe anyone your silence. You don't owe anyone your forgiveness. Sometimes the only way to be seen is to stop waiting for people to look. If you felt something while listening, please like the video and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Stories like these only reach the people who need them most when you help them travel. And if you want more real, raw, and emotional stories just like this, subscribe to the channel. There's so much more to tell. Until next time, stay strong, stay kind, and remember, your voice matters.